Good morning and welcome in everyone. Before we get into this morning's update, I want to go over a quick overview of what is transpiring so far to start the trading week. As we can see, we've started off, I don't want to say red, but we've started off a little red here. Over the weekend, we had a pretty similar feat that's been taking place for the last several months. Pretty red overall. As we can see, Bitcoin's at around 82,215. XRP's under that $2.10 mark. But we'll see exactly how we end up shaking out here to start the week. We know we've got a lot of downward pressure on risk assets and things like that. Stock market was down a little bit in the futures. NASDAQ, the Russell 2000 was down. We've got little hiccups here in crypto. We've got a few things that are slightly up. Ethereum's up about $7. We've got Bitcoin. Where are we at right now? Down about $145. Nothing major. Went down to about 81,300 area overnight. The technical drop point, if we don't reverse and somehow break past this area, unless we come back up and retest 86,000 area, which is possible this morning. If we have a further breakdown, you could come all the way down to 77. But the technical drop would be around 64K if we can't get back over that 86,000 level. We've got XRP that's dropped down here overnight. The technical drop, if it played out truthfully, could get you down well below $2. But right now, we've got this minute line here that we've managed to hold all weekend. All we don't want this to do is end up like a little bear flag that ends up dropping us another 25%. So we're going to see if we can hold this channel back test and then try to make a violent push back to the top side. We've come down about, what is this so far? From that 248 on Friday, Thursday, about Thursday. We're good down a good 17% since Thursday. So we're looking for some upward volatility. But right now, the market plainly seems like all of the donors that were given out for crypto, whether they were donating to Trump, Harris, the Democrats, Republicans, no matter which part you look at, it looks like we had an artificial pump up, paid off all the donors, and now they're using retail as exit liquidity. The last, 16 weeks now over the weekend, we've been red. And it's starting to certainly seem like no matter what kind of marginalized push up we get, it's followed by a more extreme pull down. And once again, we're seeing that reflected in the market. XRP is a perfect example. It was down to $1.90 or $1.88, then it bounced all the way back up to $2.40, and now here we are finding ourselves, even yesterday, or on Thursday, Friday, well, Wednesday. If we just look at how we bounced from here on March 18th, we went from 224, and then we found ourselves on March 26th down at 250 roughly, and now you look at March 31st, and we find ourselves down at 207. Now, tomorrow is my least favorite day of the year when it comes to being an influencer because of April Fools. And it's not just as an influencer. There's a whole lot of things in the world. People always do the April Fools thing. But, I don't know, when you're dealing with finance and personal money and portfolios, I don't think it's right to do April Fools and just simply justify it by saying, oh, it's April Fools. I mean, you can cost people thousands and thousands of dollars, cumulatively millions of dollars, by telling a white lie here on April Fool's. So I'm not going to do that tomorrow. I haven't participated in 4 years, and I'm sure I'll have some kind of rant when we get into it. So good morning. 8:05 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Monday, March 31st, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. And we've seen this across the board too. Like XDC was up a little bit overnight. And it's still trying. It was at 697. Now it's at 683. I mean, that's not a huge pull down. It's still trying to do something here. We're trying to see if anything can have a little bit of momentum to the top side. But remember, the USA is going to wake up here at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 a.m., 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. And we're within that hour and a half bubble now. And we've witnessed a lot of times, even if you get a little bit of volatility to the upside in the start of the morning, by the time the USA wakes up, it makes it pretty interesting on the retracements. So I'm going to be interested to see if XRP can hold this support Or do we come all the way down to that $1.96? That is the setup here, a smaller setup, I suppose you could say. And then if it breaks down past that, you're talking about a really, really, really big drop here, possibly. And that's why we need to hold these levels. You either hold the initial level, where we're at right now, and not give back this zone. And right now, in today's terms, I believe it's like 2.0. Actually, we came almost down there, 202. And when the weekend started, I said our goal, at worst case scenario, was to at least hold that $2.02. And now we moved it into the future, because if you do consolidate all the way until April 6th, that could put you at $1.90 on next Sunday, or this coming up Sunday, even staying on the outside of this consolidation. We do have death crosses that form. Daily time frame looks brutal. As we pull down, now we're looking to get some validation on the 200, which is down at $1.93. The weekly time frame, we've crossed back below the 20-day. So now, I mean, it's time to where we have to start being like, okay, if we're going to do some kind of reversal here, it's going to have to happen now rather than later. Because now we have the 20 crossing the 100-day as well. We're about to come down and start to do a reversal in the daily time frame. That's how close we are. If this is a right arm, we've got to invalidate this immediately. Otherwise, this can turn into some very, very volatile swings to the downside, like tremendously to the downside. So we need to see some upward volatility today, not just in XRP, but crypto as a whole. Otherwise, it's going to start slipping down a very slippery slope. And when you start sliding down that slope, it's a whirlwind. This morning, when you start looking at gold, silver, mining stocks, things like that, gold's up $36 an ounce to $3,120. And as you've seen on Friday, B2 gold dropped 9%. You know, you had Barrett Gold drop 2.25%. First Majestic was down 3%. Fortuna was down 1.9%. Silver's not moving much this morning, up about, not much, 0.2%. But gold is definitely moving volatilely, and that's telling us all we need to know about risk assets. If gold's going up and the US dollar's up slightly, I mean, doesn't seem to fare well for risk assets at all. But we could get some volatility. I'd like to see some volatility up. I'm sick of seeing down every single day. But, you know, we'll continue to look at this in the sense that we're probably in a bear market, like we've been saying for weeks. Not probably. We are in a bear market right now. Yes, we had a nice bullish run, but these are bear market consolidations right now. So we need some kind of volatility to the upside to send us up, like we see with H-bar, down under 16 cents now. It's an early runner starting to come down to our support at 14, and then maybe worse. And then when you start looking at that across the board, you can start to see how a lot of things are starting to mimic it. We're making this pull down. XLM started reversing back up, so that's a decent sign in the morning. We just need a lot of upward volatility here, because we're starting to run into some sections here where now we've had a death cross here, and now we got rejected at not only the 20 and the 200, but also the 50-day. Now we're starting to pull right here in the daily, but all it's really looking like is we're continuing this pull down to 24.5. And then if that doesn't hold, I mean, we could talk about sub 20 cents in the short term. So we need to see a violent swing for risk assets here. We need some volatility. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I'm going to update and release this for you because I got to get my son to school at 8:20 a.m. and I want this to be out by the time I leave. With Bitcoin, assuming we don't get over 86,000 again, we're going to finish off this death cross and the next target 77. But my fear is that we are actually, or 86 we need to get above. My fear is actually we're about to test, because this is a head and shoulders, like at least this is the right shoulder of a head. I feel like we're going to test 64,196. That's the breakout of the handle from the cup and handle. And we never back tested, and it seems very apparent. We're probably going to go down to 64K at some point here. And that would be where XRP could go down to $1.50. I feel pretty, the more I see this playing out, the more this reminds me of 2021. It just reminds me of 2021. Every single time they give you the upward volatility, they follow it with a bigger bearish drop. And then we end up funding, you know, big business. We end up funding these projects. And they end up siphoning off of retail. As every single time, because we took the elevator up, we take the stairs down. And that's seemingly what has been happening. If you appreciate this update, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join the almost 31,500 subscribers. I would encourage you to look at BITUNIX, and this time when we're dropping especially, you're going to want to find an exchange that has the lowest spot and leverage trading fees, lowest maker-taker fee if you're looking to trade leverage, and you want an exchange that kept XRP from before and after the lawsuit, which is BITUNIX, and you don't need a KYC or VPN, so take advantage of it. That's my favorite place to trade. You're going to need other places for other things, but if you can, I encourage you to use it there. Have a blessed morning, everybody. Don't let your emotions dictate your response, and we're just going to have to fight through this market.